mother is supposed to be the one person you trust more than anyone in the world. The one who protects you, supports you, and stands beside you when life becomes difficult. But what happens when the person who is supposed to love you the most becomes the one who betrays you in the most painful way imaginable? This is the heartbreaking story of Adaeze, a young woman whose life changed forever when the man she planned to marry crossed a line that should never be crossed with the one person who should have protected her, her own mother. It is a story of betrayal, heartbreak, humiliation, and the powerful arrival of karma. Stay with me until the end, because what happened later proved that no matter how long it takes, karma never forgets. In the peaceful town of Owerri lived a young woman named Adaeze. She was known throughout her neighborhood as a kind and respectful girl who never involved herself in gossip or trouble. People often praised her for her good character and humble nature. Life had not always been easy for Adaeze. When she was only 8 years old, she lost her father after a long illness. From that moment, it was only her and her mother, Madam Ngozi. Madam Ngozi worked tirelessly in the local market, where she sold fabrics and wrappers. Every morning before the sun rose, she would leave the house carrying heavy bags of goods to set up her small store. Sometimes she returned home very late at night, exhausted, but still determined to provide for her daughter. Because of this, Adaeze admired her mother deeply. To her, Madam Ngozi was not just a parent, but a hero who had sacrificed everything so her daughter could have a better life. As the years passed, Adaeze grew into a beautiful young woman with a gentle smile and warm personality. Many young men in the village admired her, but she was careful about relationships. She believed that love was something serious and should not be rushed. Then, one evening, something happened that changed her life forever. Adaeze attended a birthday gathering organized by one of her friends. It was a small celebration with music, laughter, and plenty of food. While she was standing near the entrance greeting other guests, she noticed a young man walking toward her. His name was Chinedu. Chinedu was a young businessman who owned an electronics shop in town. He had a confident smile and a calm way of speaking that immediately made people feel comfortable around him. When their eyes met, both of them felt an instant connection. They started talking casually at first, but soon their conversation became deeper and more personal. They shared stories about their childhood, their struggles, and their dreams for the future. Before either of them realized it, hours had passed. That night was the beginning of something beautiful. Over the following months, Chinedu and Adaeze grew closer. He visited her often and sometimes accompanied her to the market where she helped her mother on busy days. People in the community began to notice how well they suited each other. Chinedu treated Adaeze with kindness and respect, always encouraging her dreams and supporting her ambitions. Eventually, what started as friendship turned into love. One evening, while they were walking along a quiet road surrounded by palm trees, Chinedu suddenly stopped walking. He turned toward Adaeze and gently held her hands. His voice was calm but serious. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you," he said. Adaeze felt her heart begin to race. Then Chinedu asked the question she had secretly hoped to hear. "Will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes as happiness rushed through her heart. She nodded and said yes without hesitation. That night, she returned home excited to share the news with her mother. Madam Ngozi seemed pleased when she heard the news and agreed to meet Chinedu. When Chinedu visited their home for the first time, Madam Ngozi welcomed him warmly. She asked many questions about his business and family background. At first, everything seemed perfectly normal, but slowly, something strange began to happen. Whenever Chinedu came to visit, Madam Ngozi started dressing more carefully than usual. She wore her most beautiful wrappers and used perfumes she rarely wore before. She laughed loudly at Chinedu's jokes and sometimes touched his arm while speaking to him. Adaeze noticed these things but quickly pushed the thoughts away. After all, that was her mother. The idea that her own mother could betray her never crossed her mind. One afternoon, Adaeze's best friend, Ifunanya, visited her. As they sat together talking, Ifunanya seemed unusually quiet. Finally, she spoke. "Adaeze, please don't misunderstand me," she said carefully. "But the way your mother looks at Chinedu sometimes makes me uncomfortable."
Adaeze immediately shook her head. "That's impossible," she said firmly. "My mother would never do something like that." Ifunanya didn't argue further. But sometimes, the truth hides in places we refuse to look. One afternoon, Adaeze left work earlier than usual because she was feeling unwell. All she wanted was to go home and rest. As she approached the house, she noticed something unusual. Chinedu's car was parked outside. She smiled to herself, thinking he had come to surprise her. But when she entered the house, the living room was empty. Then she heard laughter coming from her mother's bedroom. Confused, she walked slowly toward the door. Her heart began beating faster. Her hand trembled as she pushed the door open. And in that moment, her entire world collapsed. On the bed were Chinedu and Madame Ngozi. For a few seconds, Adaeze could not even breathe. Her mind refused to accept what her eyes were seeing. Then suddenly she screamed. Chinedu jumped up in shock, while Madame Ngozi calmly adjusted her wrapper as if nothing unusual had happened. Tears streamed down Adaeze's face. "How could you do this to me?" she cried. But the response she received hurt even more than the betrayal. "If you cannot satisfy your man, another woman will." Those words shattered Adaeze's heart. In that moment, she realized she had lost both the man she loved and the mother she trusted. Within weeks, Chinedu stopped contacting her completely. Then another shocking announcement spread throughout the village. Madame Ngozi and Chinedu were getting married. The entire community was stunned. People whispered everywhere about the scandal. Unable to endure the humiliation, Adaeze packed her belongings and left the village. She moved to another city, determined to rebuild her life. The early years were extremely difficult. She struggled with loneliness and heartbreak, often crying herself to sleep at night. But she refused to allow betrayal to destroy her future. Through hard work and determination, Adaeze eventually opened a small tailoring shop. Slowly, her business began to grow. Years passed, and the young woman who once felt broken became a successful business owner. Meanwhile, back in the village, Madame Ngozi's marriage to Chinedu began to crumble. Arguments filled their home almost every day. Soon, rumors started spreading again. Chinedu was cheating on Madame Ngozi with younger women. One night, after a heated argument, Chinedu packed his bags, he said coldly. "Leaving for where?" Madame Ngozi asked angrily. "For someone younger," he replied. And just like that, he walked away. The same betrayal that destroyed Adaeze had now returned to haunt Madame Ngozi. Years later, Madame Ngozi traveled to the city to find her daughter. She waited outside her office building for hours. When she finally stepped outside and saw her mother, she froze. Her once proud mother now looked weak and broken. Tears filled Madame Ngozi's eyes. "I have paid for my mistakes," she whispered. Adaeze stood silently for a long moment. Then she helped her mother stand. Not because she had forgotten the pain, but because she refused to let hatred control her life. Sometimes, the greatest revenge is simply living well, and Adaeze had done exactly that. What would you have done if you were Adaeze? Would you forgive a mother who betrayed you like this, or would you walk away forever? Tell me your opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoy powerful emotional stories like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another unforgettable story. Because here, every story reminds us that life always finds a way to reveal the truth, and karma never forgets. See you in the next story.